Let's get to Elon because this was big news. So the Wall Street Journal yesterday put out this report that Tesla is looking at moving on from Elon Musk, that they are actively and have been actively searching for a new CEO. Let's put this up on the screen. So they say Tesla board open search for a CEO to succeed Musk. Let me read you a little bit of this. They say about a month ago, with Tesla's stock sinking and some investors irritated about Musk's White House focus, Tesla's board got serious about looking for his successor. Board members reached out to several executive search firms to work on a formal process for finding Tesla's next chief executive. According to people familiar with the discussions, tensions had been mounting at the company. Sales and profits were deteriorating rapidly. Musk was spending much of his time in Washington. Around that time, Tesla's board met with Musk for an update. Board members told him he needed to spend more time on Tesla, according to people familiar, and he needed to say so publicly. Musk did not push back. So that is what they're saying. I don't know if you have pulled up what Elon's response was, but he and Tesla late last night denied the report, said this is an absolute fiction. It's an absolute lie. I haven't checked in on Tesla's stock this morning, but last night after this Wall Street Journal report had come out, it was plummeting even further than it already had been. And, you know, it's wouldn't be a surprise. Like in any normal company would look at the string of events of, okay, our CEO is not even here. Like he's not even running the company. And his brand is so toxic and specifically toxic to our particular customer base that this is just an utter disaster. But, you know, it's Elon's baby. He's stacked the board with people who are mostly sycophants, including like his brother, and one of the Murdochs is on there. And there have been, you know, questions about the independence of the board because they are so closely tied to him. So that's why for even this board to be making moves to move on from Elon is really, really, you know, pretty shocking. But there are also details here that apparently Elon, and I kind of guessed this, that Elon is kind of over running Tesla. Like he's kind of sick of still being there. He's been doing Tesla for a long time. Maybe his heart's really in SpaceX at this point and his like Mars delusions. That's been my sense from the outside and from reading and reporting about him, the way he's oriented himself with regard to Doge. But in any case, what's their response?
So Elon, they're scrambling, by the way, to get all of this. As yesterday, the Journal published this. When was this, Krystal? It was like later at night. I want to say it was like around the evening. Yes. Okay. Well, it was updated. That's today. They updated it apparently at 7:45 a.m., probably with a response to Elon. But it was happening in the evening. And so Tesla scrambled to get a response together and posted a statement at I think it was like 1:23 a.m. and said, earlier today there was a media report erroneously claiming that the Tesla board had contacted recruitment firms to initiate a CEO search at the company. This is absolutely false, and this was communicated to the media before the report was published. The CEO of Tesla is Elon Musk, and the board is highly confident in his ability to continue executing on the exciting growth plan ahead. Now, what they're narrowly denying here is that the board had contacted recruitment firms to initiate a CEO search at the company. You can parse that in different ways. You could say maybe one or two people on the board, not the board itself, acting as a collective, had flirted with the idea and maybe talked to a couple of people that they know in these business circles. That's how it is. You're like at a dinner and you're like, hey, would you potentially, you know, be able to help us with a recruitment search at Tesla? And then that person goes to the media. The Journal has had I would say, deepest reporting on Elon Musk. And this is what's really irking Musk heads right now, is that the Journal is the one that had this story because they're, you know, already furious with the way the Journal is reporting on Musk. Musk quote tweets. This is all happening literally at 1:30 in the morning, the Tesla statement, and says, all caps, it is in all caps, extremely bad breach of ethics that the Wall Street Journal would publish a deliberately false article and fail to include an unequivocal denial beforehand by the Tesla board of directors. Now, I will say, if Tesla told the Journal beforehand that, if they gave this statement to the Journal beforehand, basically saying that the board had not contacted recruitment firms, then the Journal should have printed that. But I also don't believe that the Journal just wouldn't print that because it doesn't really poke a hole in their reporting. I mean, it's a denial from a company, but everyone knows that companies will issue narrow, carefully worded denials in situations like this when you have robust sourcing in a major newspaper. So I sort of feel like they would have put that in there if they had it, no matter what. It's not, you know, a super persuasive denial of everything that they're reporting here. So, I mean, it's not a great look for Musk, but it does make sense with all of his moves over the course of the last month. Krystal, you and I have talked about how that Wisconsin election felt like a turning point in MAGA world when it came to Musk. And it seemed as though, you know, I think you and I had said this all along, the quiet quitting of Musk would be the way that this goes, rather than like a big kinetic explosion. It was always going to be sort of a conscious uncoupling that eventually it just becomes untenable. And because the relationship between Trump and Musk is so important to both of them, because for Trump, it's, I mean, that's the money for the MAGAification of the Republican Party going forward via America PAC. And for Musk, well, obviously, this is the president of the United States. He oversees 5 major companies. So it makes sense. But it also, I think, makes sense with the disintegration or Musk's decision to take all of these steps back, that this is what was happening behind closed doors with his prized company. Obviously, he loves Starlink and Boring and SpaceX. SpaceX is probably his favorite, who knows. But this is Tesla. Like, this is his baby. This is what he's been known for most of his career. So you understand why it would be sort of a blow.
Yeah, well, and that is exemplified by the fact that, you know, we got Trump to do that, like, Tesla sale in the parking lot of the White House. And the Pam Bondi is announcing that, like, if you harbor ill feeling towards Tesla, you're basically a terrorist and whatever. Like, it also, though, I mean, it is astonishing because the way that Musk being so cozy with Trump would hurt their sales to a what has previously been mostly like an affluent, liberal California customer base. That is so incredibly predictable. And, you know, the stock really rose once Trump got elected because everyone's like, oh, well, Elon is secondhand to the king and he's going to be able to get all these perks. True, but you still have to be able to sell cars. And not only here, but around the world, Tesla sales really plummeted. I mean, really plummeted. Cybertruck has been one of the greatest, you know, automotive flops in history, truly. Even Tesla dealerships are not even accepting Cybertrucks as trade-ins. That's how little appetite there is for this very expensive and poorly created vehicle, which has become this incredibly, like, political symbol that for many people reads as extremely toxic. And so if you're going to buy this really expensive thing, you also have to expect you're going to get, like, flicked off and people are going to give you dirty looks and whatever. Most people just don't want to deal with that, right? So in any case, not to mention, it's not really a vehicle that makes any sense anywhere except for America. So you're limiting your market to begin with. Then you've got the trade war, which is bad for everybody, but bad for Tesla.
As Elon says, by the way. Elon has said that.
Elon talked about that on the investor call. And, you know, a lot of Tesla's hopeful growth was in China. China now also with BYD has, I mean, they've just out-innovated Tesla as well. Like, their product is better than Tesla or the other EV makers here in America. So there's all sorts of issues, but the biggest one is Elon himself. So like I said, to get rid of him is the most rational thing you could possibly do. But given that the board is so closely tied to him, you know, I always thought it was kind of unlikely. So even the fact that even if it's not the whole board, but a few board members are reaching out to these executive search firms or whatever is really quite something. We could put before up on the screen of the Tesla stock, which just shows you the, you know, the surge after Trump's elected and then the dramatic crash. He's gained back a little bit. You know, like I said, I haven't checked in with it today. The last piece we have here, just a sign of his failure here in Washington as well, and the quiet quitting, as Emily put it. He was at this cabinet meeting yesterday.
Not a member of the cabinet.
And not a member of the cabinet, so, you know, whatever, that he's there to begin with. But he's not even the head of DOJ, according to Trump administration in court. But, you know, previously at the first cabinet meeting, he was standing up. He was holding court. Everyone was doing some of their obsequiousness that they normally direct to Trump. They were doing that with Elon as well. Now he's getting this sort of like, you know, the sort of like pity clap is more like what he's getting from Trump, or like the pat, like you
want to go to your cars,
best,
buddy.
Elon. You know, you could stay, but I know you want to get back to working on your cars, don't you?
Right.
So let's go ahead and take a listen to B2 and how things are going for Elon with regards to the Trump administration.
But you have been treated unfairly, but the vast majority of people in this country really respect and appreciate you, and this whole room can say that very strongly. You've really been a tremendous help. You opened up a lot of eyes as to what could be done, and we just want to thank you very much. And you're invited to stay as long as you want. At some point, I guess he wants to get back home to his cars and his.
So what were the vibes of that for you, Emily?
Feels like a send-off. Doesn't that feel like when, one member of like the, drama club at high school is about to graduate? Like one member of the basketball team is about to graduate. And you're like,
yeah,
you did a great job. You didn't start every game, but you were always there. You had the heart. You had what it took. We'll always remember you. Didn't it feel like that?
You are a critical part of this team.
Yeah, you will always be a part of this team. It had those vibes a little bit.
Absolutely. It's funny you went to the sports thing too, because I was also thinking about, when like after one of my kids plays a game and like it's not their best game, and you're like, you did good. Like you did good.
Yes.
Like it's not always gonna be your day. It's fine.
But you were good.
You did your best.
But you were good.
Yeah.
Not saying you weren't good. You were good. Like great form. Yeah, no, it does feel like that. And Trump at one point said,
"This is a learning experience." Yeah.
Trump at one point said, Elon, you're invited to stay as long as you want, which is 100% what you say when you're like evicting someone.
Right.
Like politely evicting someone. You're like, just like a family member's been couch surfing for a while and they got the hint.
Elon has been literally like couch surfing in some federal government office buildings, so apparently.
Yeah, and they got the hint, right? Like this person got the hint. They realized that like you're a little tired of, the couch surfing and they're leaving. You're like, you're invited to stay as long as you want. That was basically.
That's how you do it in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
like you can stay forever. Here. But I know you have things you want to do.
You want to get back to your cars.
Not here.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also like he's actually not invited to stay as long as he wants unless he divests from, like, to be clear, he's only allowed to stay for 180 days based on the special government employee distinction. So technically he's not invited.
Yes.
But,
which, as we've discussed before, they're a stickler for the rules and regulations in this administration.
Oh, 181 days? Absolutely not.
Unacceptable.
That's the red line. No way. No way, Elon. So
Clock is ticking.
It felt like a little send-off.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on with Elon as best we know.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.